कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। चैतन्य भागवत मंगलाचरण। आजानुलंबित भुजगो कनकावदातौ संकीर्तनैक पितराउ कमलायताक्षौ विश्वम्भरं द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालो वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरो करुणावतारो। नमस्त्रिकाल सत्याय जगन्नाथ सुताय च सभृत्याय सपुत्राय सकलत्राय ते नमः। अवतीर्णवसकारुणयो परिच्छिन्नो सद ईश्वरवो श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानन्दो भरतव भजे। सजयति विशुद्ध विक्रमः कनकाभकमलायाते ते शृणः वरजानुविलम्बि सद्भुजौ बहुधा भक्तिरसाभिनर्तकः। जयति जयति देवो कृष्ण चैतन्य चन्द्रो जयति जयति कीर्तिस्तस्य नित्या पवित्रा। जयति जयति भृत्यस्तस्य विश्वेशामृतेर् जयति जयति नृत्यं तस्य सर्वपर्याणाम्। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। दंडवत प्रणाम सभी को। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा हरे राम। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
हाँ हरे कृष्णा।
Little Mataji joins. Aparna Mataji can sing a song.
Okay, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Please give me 2 minutes. हरे कृष्णा। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री सचित पुताष्टकम। नव गौर वरं नव पुष्प शरं नव चेशुत गौरवं नवयं नवनीतं नववेशप्रेममयं प्रणमामि हरिभक्ति परं हरिनाम रमामि सचेशं जनतापो हर परमार्थ परालेह करं जगतापहरं रमामि सचेषु निज भक्ति करं प्रियचारुतरं नटनार्तनकारजूकललं कुलकामिनी मानसलासहरं प्रणमामि सचेतघोरवरम् करतालवलं कलकण्ठरवं मृदुवादशुवेनिकया मधुरं नाथकरम् प्रणमामि रचेशुतगौरवरम् युगधर्मयुतं गुणनन्दसुतं धरणीसुचित्रं भवभावचित्रम् तनुध्यानचितं निजवासयुतं प्रणमामि रचेशुतगौरवनं वचनं वदने स्खलितं स्कननामधरम् गुरुदेशुरशं जगत प्रणमामि सचेशुतगौरवरं प्रणमामि सचेशुतगौरवरं हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण धन्यवाद प्रभुपाद की जय।
Which verse today? 7th chapter.
61 Mataji. 61 Mataji.
61.
Dandavat Pranam.
So yesterday we saw how the subject object of the material world is completely different from the, you can say, subject object of the spiritual world. Subject object of the spiritual world has the same quality, but subject object of the material world has different qualities. So in Navdeepa, except for the devotees, nobody could recognize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so sweet, but that sweetness can be tasted only by one who doesn't have the disease of material afflictions. Yai navadvipe te dekhila sarvajana tathapi kehana janila bhakta vine. Everybody saw the Lord in Navdeepa, but no one except the devotees could recognize him. Although bhakti, the eternal propensity of the soul, is present in every living entity's heart, it is impossible for the conditioned souls to realize, just as it is impossible to see one's face in a dusty mirror. In such a state, the eternal propensity of the living entity's service to Krishna remains dormant. Therefore, they are seen to have a taste for karma and jnana. That is why the service of the Lord is only found in the devotees who have service attitude. Yasyam vaishryamanayam Krishna paramapurushe bhakti utpadate pumsam shokamoha bhayapaha. When the service attitude comes by hearing, the more we hear, the more our dormant condition arouses. So the forgetfulness of Krishna is because the consciousness is still covered. The pure consciousness is covered. That is why here dust in the mirror has been told. If there is a dust, we cannot see our reflection. In the same way, this material attachment is compared to the dust which is covering our pure consciousness. And this can only go by hearing and serving. Bhakterase chitta prabhu hare sarvathaya viharaye navadvipe vaikuntheraraya. So Lord attracted the hearts of the devotees as he enjoyed his pastimes in Navdeepa. Mohiya sabara chitta prabhu vishwambhara agraje laila chalilena nija ghara. So in this way, after enchanting everyone, he went to the place where Advaita Acharya was giving the lecture and he wanted to go and call his brother. He calls his brother. And there he's enchanting everyone by his beautiful form. After that, Vishwambhara returned with his elder brother. Mane mane chintaye Advaita Mahashaya Prakruta Mahu Manushah Kabuye Balakanaya. So Advaita Acharya, actually he used to call Krishna, please come. He used to water Tulasi. With Tulasi water, he used to worship Lord. And he used to call Lord. At that time, he always has the desire, he had the desire that Lord should appear and remove all these wrong understandings of so-called scholarly people. Now, Advaita Acharya, when he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, within his mind, he thought that this person is not an ordinary boy. This boy is not an ordinary boy, he is Krishna himself. But then, before coming to the conclusion, he is Krishna himself, he used to think, Sarva Vaishnavera Prati Balila Advaita Unavastu ye Balakaha Na Jani Nishtita. Who is this boy? What sort of boy he is? He used to tell to the Vaishnavas because he saw that everybody is getting attracted to this boy, that this boy is not an ordinary boy. Prashamshite Lagilena Sarva Bhaktagana Apurva Shishura Rupa Lavanya Kathana. Then all the devotees started praising the beauty of this boy, wonderful boy. Nama Matra Vishwarupa Chalilena Ghare Punha Ailena Shigra Advaita Mandire. So just for formalities, because mother called Vishwambhara came there. Vishwarup went to the house. But then as soon as possible, he again returned to Advaita Acharya's house. Na bhaya samsara sukha Vishwarupamane niravadhi thake Krishna Ananda Kirtane. So this desire of material enjoyment was not at all appearing in the mind of Vishwarupa. He was always in ecstasy, singing Krishna name, Krishna Ananda Kirtane. Grahaya ilo ailyo graha vyabharana kare niravadhi thake Vishnu grahere bhitare. So when he used to come home, he never engaged in any household activities. Rather, he used to always sit in the temple room. The word Vishnu graha is explained as follows. Formerly, in every Brahmana's house, there was a separate room for the deity form of Narayana, Shalagram. This deity room is known as Vishnu graha. While at home, Sri Vishwarupa would generally pass his time worshipping and meditating in the deity room. So in big houses, they have deity room. In the olden houses, they used to be very big house. But in the modern houses, where you have just one bedroom, one hall, and one kitchen, where you'll have a separate deity room. That is why deity altars are generally placed in the hall or maybe in the kitchen. Vivahera Udyoga Tvaraye Pitamata Shuni Vishwarupa Bada Mane Paya Vyakha. So now his father and mother started speaking about his marriage. And it was very troublesome. When he heard also, it was like he used to have material pain because he did not have any interest to go in the materialistic life. Chhadi basansara Vishwarupa mane bhave Chaliya anavane matrayi mane jage. Then he thought, let me leave home and go to the forest. Ishwarera chitta vritti Ishwara se jane Vishwarupa sannyasa karila katadine. The heart of the Lord is only known to the Lord. Thus, after a few days, Vishwarup left to take sannyas. Jagate vidita nama Shri Shankararanya Chalila Ananta Pathe Vaishnava Graganya Agraganya. So Vaishnava Agraganya. So in this way, he was celebrated as Vaishnava Agraganya. The topmost Agraganya means the topmost of all the Vaishnavas. Now Vishwarup, he became known as Sri Shankararanya. After sannyas, his name was changed. Anantapathe. So he traveled in the path of devotion and he was recognized at the topmost of the Vaishnavas. Vishwarupa accepted sannyas in the Shankara Sampradaya and became famous by the name Shankararanya. Aranya is one of the title in sannyas, like Puri. This is all one of Sagara, Puri. These are all one of the titles. At that time, there were 10 names for sannyasis. They have come here. Used in the Shankara Sampradaya. The name Aranya is one of the 10 names. These 10 names of sannyasis were previously used in the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. After these, Vishnu Swami sannyasis had a quarrel with Ekadandi sannyasis from the Shiva Swami Sampradaya. They entered into the Shankara Sampradaya. The original Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, however, there were 108 names used for sannyasis. By the influence of Shiva Swami Sampradaya, the Vedic sannyasi names were reduced to 10 after the time of Shankaracharya. So Ekadandi sannyasis, they have 10 names. Tridandi sannyasis, that is Vaishnava sannyasis, they have more than 108 names. In the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, there were more than 108 names. After traveling throughout the country, Sri Shankararanya arrived at Pandharpur. We have this Leela in Chaitanya Chaitamrita, in the district of Sholapur near Bombay, and took Samadhi at the bank of the Bhima river. It is said that Sri Shankararanya, the king of the sannyasis, entered the deity of Vitthalanatha or Sri Vithoba. While traveling to South India many years later, 1511, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Pandharpur and heard from Sri Rangapuri about Sri Vishwarup's disappearance. Madhendra Puri had many disciples. Among them, Rangapuri was one of them, Ishwarpuri was one of them. That is why when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets Rangapuri was very happy to know that he is his godbrother's disciple. At that time, Pandharpur was a famous place of pilgrimage populated by many sadhus and Vaishnavas. Chalilena yadi Vishwarupa Mahashaya Sachinandana Jagdha Haila Hridaya. Now when Vishwarupa left his home, at that time Sachimata and Jagannath, they were completely grief-stricken. Goshti Saha Krandana Karaya Ubharaya Bhaira Virahe Murcha Gela Gauraraya. Even Gauranga was very sad. He also cried loudly along with his family members and eventually fell unconscious out of separation from his brother. Now here Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Se viraha varnite vadana nahi pari. Haira krandana maya Jagannatha Puri. I'm unable to describe the feelings of separation. In Jagannath Mishra's house, there was only cry. It said that the whole house was inundated with crying. The word Jagannath Puri refers to the house of Jagannath Mishra or the present day Yoga Pitha in Sri Mayapur. Here Puri refers to the place. City is also known as Puri. Place is also known as Puri. House is also known as Puri. So now Jagannath Puri, in the Jagannath Mishra's house, everybody were only crying. With a crying sound was heard. Vishwarupa Sannyasa Dekhiya Bhaktagana Advaitadi Sabe Bahu Karila Krandana. So now even Advaita Acharya and other devotees came to know Vishwarupa has taken sannyas. Everybody started crying. In those days, sannyas was very difficult. It's a very difficult ashram. They cannot cook. They cannot do anything. They have to just depend on the mercy. At the time of Shriman Mahaprabhu, the study of Vedic scriptures was prominent in Navadvipa, which was referred to as Gaudapura by Maharshi Panini. to demonstrate that one's material attachment is not destroyed without such study. Many personalities headed by Sri Gaura Sundar's elder brother Sri Vishwarupa accepted sannyas and thus increased the glories of Gaudapura, the center of education in this time. The acceptance of sannyas by Sri Gaurasundar and Sri Purushottam Bhattacharya is mentioned in many Gaudiya devotional scriptures. Apart from them, many other jewel-like scholars like Ishwar Puri, the disciple of Madhavendra, often visited Gaudapura. This Gaudapura, Navadvipa is also known as Gaudapura. And here the Vedic literatures is to be studied. So who has given this name? Maharshi Panini. He says the study of Vedic literatures was prominent in Navadvipa, which was referred to as Gaudapura by Maharshi Panini. That Vedic literatures are also known as Gaudapura. The place is Navadvipa. Apart from them, many other jewels. After traveling to the holy places with his sannyasa guru, Sri Nityananda Prabhu also came to Gaudapura and met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Gaura Sundara, the sannyasi disciples of both Keshav Bharati. Now, Bharati is also one of the titles. Bharati, Puri, Sagara, Aranya. Now, the disciples of Keshav Bharati and Sri Madhavendra Puri Pada illuminated the path of accepting sannyas for members of the Varnashrama society. Surrounded by many Mayavadi sannyasis, Prakashananda Saraswati, there is also one title, Saraswati, of Kashi, simply wasted his time in arguments based on mental speculation. Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati, a Tridandi sannyasi of Sri Ramanuja Sampradaya and other Tridandi Padas, like Sri Madhvacharya, accepted Tridandi sannyasis and engaged in the service of Sri Lord Hari as practiced in the line of original Sarvagya Vishnu Swamis. So though they held the title given by Ekadandi sannyasis, but they were engaged in the service of Lord. Prakashananda Saraswati, he just simply wasted his time in mental speculation. On the other hand, Prabodhananda Saraswati, he is actually the uncle of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. He's from Srirangam. He was a Tridandi sannyasi of the Ramanuja Sampradaya. And other Tridandi Padas like Madhvacharya, they all accepted Lord's service. The Varnashram society of the time, respect and honor were offered to sannyasis by all communities. Sannyas ashram gains respect. But for a Vaishnava, even if he is a Grahastha or a Brahmachari or a Vanaprasthi or a sannyasi, doesn't matter. But generally people when they see sannyasis, immediately they offer respect. That is the only reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Or for Kali Yuga, sannyas is varjit. There are 5 activities which are not recommended in sannyas in Kali Yuga. Ashwamedham, Gavalambam, offering doing horse sacrifice, doing cow sacrifice, that is not allowed. Sannyasam, Pailapatrakam, you should not even offer meat to the demigods. Sannyas is varjit. Devarena Sapotpati, begetting children from husband's brother is prohibited. So all these things, Panchavarjitam. In Kali Yuga, all these things are not allowed. But still we see in our ISKCON society, sannyas is given. But that is only for a formality, just to gain respect and people will hear more. Or in the Kali Yuga, sannyas is not allowed. Sannyas is completely prohibited. But it doesn't matter for a devotee taking sannyas in the Vaishnava Sampradaya. Even in Madhva Sampradaya also they give sannyas. It doesn't matter in whatever ashram he is, he will be only doing the service for Lord. So sannyas ashram keeps him more free to do the service to the Lord in a more better way. In the Varnashrama society of the time, respect was given to the sannyasis. Later on, the Dhari sannyasis engaged in Pancha Makara. Dhari sannyasis are a class of married sannyasis. And Pancha Makara means refers to Mamsah, Madhyaha, Matsyaha, Mahila, Maithuna, meat, wine, fish, women, sex. Now just see, like this and all were introduced later on. They engage in pancha makara, like eating fish, meat, drinking wine. So dhari sannyasis, they were married sannyasis, and thus brought defamation and harm to the principles of sannyas order. This certainly became a matter of great concern. In order to check this degradation, the pure Gaudiya devotees have now reintroduced the process of three-ganda sannyas, which was more recently present in this world in name only, and have thus bestowed happiness and great auspiciousness in the community of Vaishnavas. Although the crying of Advaita Acharya appeared to be caused by the feelings of separation, it is understood by the solacing words of Jagannath Mishra's friends. The learned scholars were overjoyed by this incident. The tears of lamentation of the attached householders who were averse to the sannyasis' renunciation, and the tears of ecstasy of the devotees who were fond of sannyasis' service at the lotus feet are not at the same nature. So in both the places, the cry was there. In Jagannath Mishra's house also, the cry was there, and Advaita Acharya's house also, cry could be heard. But that both cry is different. One is crying out of attachment, and one is crying out of attachment to the lotus feet of Krishna. And having that happiness that now, yes, Vishwarupa is engaged completely in the service of Krishna. Uttama madhyama yeshu nila nadiyaya hena nahi yeshu niya dukkha nahi payam. So everybody in the Nadia came to know that Vishwarupa has left home and have taken sannyas. And he has taken the sannyas, and hearing this, both the ordinary and exalted devotees, everyone felt unhappy. Jagannatha Shachira Vidirna Hayabuka Nirantara Dake Vishwarupa Putra Shoke Mishra Chandra Haila Vivala Prabodakare Bandhu Bandhava Shakala. So everybody were broken hearted, especially Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata. They were just crying Vishwarupa. And Sri Mishra was so overwhelmed with a lamentation for his son, so his friends and relatives all came to pacify him. Jagannath Mishra's display of affliction due to lamentation for his son, like that of an ordinary father for his son, was actually to deceive people who are bewildered by material objects like their sons. The glorification of Sri Vishwarup's acceptance of sannyas and engagement in worshipping Krishna increased the prestige of the Daiva Varnashrama sannyasis, who destroy the lamentation born of material enjoyment. So Daiva Varnashrama sannyasis, Daiva Varnashrama refers to the Varnashrama made by Krishna, Chaturvarnyamaya system, and everybody acts accordingly. Atha Pumbe Duya Shreshta Varnashrama Bhagashiho Swanishtitasa Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. And if the goal of life is just to worship Krishna, to serve Krishna, to satisfy Krishna, then that Varnashrama is known as Daiva Varnashrama Sanya. Daiva Varnashrama. In that, a person takes sannyasis, then that is a prestige. That gives prestige. And in this way, it destroys the lamentation which is born of material enjoyment. Sthirahayo Mishra Dukhana Bhavi Mane Sarva Goshti Udharila Sei Mahajane. So his friends and relatives came to console him. Oh dear Mishra, please control yourself. Do not feel sad. Now your boy has become a great personality. That great personality is going to deliver all of us. Goshtite Purushayara Karaye Sanyasa Rikoti Kulera Haya Shri Vaikunthavasa. It is said when someone takes sannyas, his all family members will be easily promoted to Vaikuntha. Hena karma karilena nandana tomara safala haila vidya sampurna tahara. See, so it's actually great. It's a matter of pride that your son has perfected his education by this act. What is the purpose of studying? The purpose of studying is to attain that renunciation. That renunciation from material attachment and complete attachment to service of Krishna. So he has attained that perfection. Ananda Vishesharo Karite Yaya Hitabali Sakala Dharaya Hate Paya. So actually now we have to rejoice. Today's day is the most happiest day. So you should feel more happier than before. So in this way, they just held the hands and feet of Jagannath Mishra. Yei Kula Bhushana is now Kula Bhushana, is an ornament of your dynasty. Tomara Vishwambhara, Yei Putra Haivito, Tomara Vamshadhara is. He is only going to lead your Vamsha. Your Vamshadhara means he has held your Vamsha. Dhara means he is holding the Vamsha and taking them to Vaikuntha. Here holding doesn't, it's not that he has not renounced the Vamsha. He has renounced, but this renunciation is going to give Dhara. Dhara refers to that position in which all of you can serve Krishna very nicely. That's why it is Kuladhara. So in this way, all the devotees are pacifying Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Further, what are the words which his friends and all are speaking? Advaita Acharya is also going to speak. So here we'll stop. Hare Krishna. Any doubts?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, one line, 2-3 points, small points. The heart of the Lord is only known. The heart of the Lord is known only to the Lord. Can you expand on this, please?
Heart of the Lord is only known to the Lord. What he wants to do, only he knows. He is Swarat. He doesn't have to tell it to anyone else.
That way. Mataji, question is that, I don't know, it's a general question, that Lord Balram is always disappearing by entering into something. Like we have seen previous Leelas also, he enters into and the snake and comes and that he enters into that and all. So why is it that he's always entering and why does Lord Balram always come first? I think that must be for making arrangement because he's a service Lord versus the served Lord. So my question is that why is he always merging?
Why?
Why does Lord Balram specially merge? Like here he's merging into the deities, other Leelas.
Because he can serve Krishna. Na? His mood is to serve Krishna. So he
Okay.
merges to serve the Krishna. There the potential, there the whole consciousness. Like a snake attains the spirituality only when Balram enters, or Balram takes the form of the snake.
Yeah.
He serves Krishna in all the 5 rasas.
Sure.
In Shanta, Dasya, even to the Madhurya, he serves Krishna as Ananga Manjari. So Balaram serves Krishna in all the 5 rasas. That is why to serve him he enters.
Because he's the service Lord.
Hmm.
Next question is, the entire house of Jagannath Mishra became inundated with crime. But we have learned from this thing that when a Vaishnava devotee leaves, then crime should not be there. The celebration should be there.
No, Srila Prabhupada, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, when you leave, what we should do? Prabhupada said, cry like a queen. When the queen husband, king leaves, at the time the queen cries. That mood you should cry. We can also see when Shukadeva Goswami ran, at the time Putreti, when Vyasa cried. So crying for a Vaishnava is wonderful.
Mataji, I lost your line. You said crying like a
Queen.
eel.
Cry like a queen, Prabhupada said.
Eel, double-E-L.
Queen, रानी. रानी जब राजा जाता है तो रानी कैसे होती है, उसी प्रकार से you should cry for Vaishnava. You should cry for Guru, Vaishnava.
Queen जो है वो पीट के रोती है, something like that.
The just example has been given.
Okay.
That intensity, that crying intensity should be there.
Okay, I think it's the last question. One or two more. Yeah, second last question. What is the difference between one dandi and three dandi?
What?
What is the difference for a Vaishnavas having one dandi and three dandis? Three dandis.
Ekadandi means Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasmi. Tridandi means Karvana Manasa Vacha.
What does it
So
mean?
there he understands that he is different from Lord. That duality is understood. So that is why he understands he is a servant, he is a master, and Lord is a master. Ekadandi, for them, everything is Brahman. Sarvam Kalidam Brahman.
So Ekdandi is the Sarva Kalitam Brahman, that is the Brahma, that is the
Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasmi. No difference between Lord and me. That is why they call each other Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. I have become Narayana, you also become Narayana. Everybody is Narayana.
So then Tridandi will mean that accepting all the three forms of Lord, that is Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, and Bhagavaneti.
You can have the speculation, but actually it is Karvana Manasa Vacha. By my mind, by my words, by my body, I will serve you.
Okay, BMW. Okay. Then last question is that when someone takes sannyas, millions of family members are promoted to Vaikuntha. Millions of family members. Here we have learned that when someone this thing, then over 10 up to 10 generations, up to 20 generations, something like that. But here the word mentioned is millions. So what is the
Yeah. PD, millions. Where they are not going to count how many, 21 or generally they said 21, but millions are delivered.
okay?
In our family, somebody had become a sannyasi. Many dynasties before in my family members. It's good, na? That is why today we are able to walk in devotional path. Somebody was a Jiyar. Jiyar is in sannyasis are known as Jiyar in Sri Sampradaya. So in my family also it was happening. So that is why today we got Srila Prabhupada. So delivered here refers to getting opportunity to serve, to get the association.
Thank you, Mataji. Nice answer. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?